Okay, prepping your clay so it is always ready to work with. Now we have a block of clay here. Cut it from the block bags. When we have a piece of clay, we need to make sure it's fully wedged. Wedge means that we get all the air bubbles out of the clay. Now let me see if I can show you what that looks like. The reason we need to get the air bubbles out of the clay, let's see here, I'm cutting this with a wire. You can also use fishing line, or you can use floss to cut your clay as well, or you can use a knife to cut it down. There's an air bubble, okay? If I make my project and this air bubble is trapped inside, what's going to happen is when it goes in the kiln, no matter how dry it is, that air will still be trapped in there. And when air is trapped in a piece of clay, it needs to get out. The kiln's going to get to 2,000 degrees. It's going to want to evaporate anything that's in there. If it has nowhere to go, it's going to make a way to go by exploding. So we want to make sure that doesn't happen. To prevent that, we are going to do something called wedging. Now, wedging is taking our clay and we're going to toss it against the table repeatedly. We're going to pick a side each time. When you toss it down, you don't want to do this. This isn't going to do anything. It's not going to get to the middle of the clay. You also don't want to, pitch it as hard as you can, which I didn't, because it'll shoot little bits of clay shrapnel across the room, and it'll make your clay flat. You'll have to fold it on self, and it's going to make more air bubbles. So we want to do this for about 5-10 minutes, which I'm not going to do right now because time. Then you're going to cut your project here, your clay, into 4 pieces. Cut it in half, and then 4. You're only going to do this the first 1 or 2 times you wedge, because then once you got it, you don't need to check. You can see here that the clay is all smooth, okay? But if you look closely here, I just saw a little dent, and there's an air bubble, okay? So you want to be careful that you make sure you wedge long enough. Once you've wedged long enough, then you are ready to mold your clay to the shape it needs. Once you cut those 4 pieces, you're going to put it back together, wedge it for 1 more minute, and then you're ready to go.